stars of TNT's Monster Truck Challenge. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. Today we come to you from historic Richmond, Virginia. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee alongside Rich Hooser, and today we're at the Richmond International Raceway, one of the prime stops for the Winston Cup NASCAR circuit. But the stock cars race on the oval, and Rich, today's competition is in the pit area.
Right, Gary, and this is where the trouble begins. Pit road is not very wide, and you got two monster trucks about 12 feet wide apiece going over cars down pit road with walls on each side. You don't want to get hooked up or get out of shape. You're going to see some of these trucks on their roof.
Also joining us on today's telecast will be Army Armstrong. He'll be along momentarily. We'll take this break and come back to Richmond, Virginia. A beautifully manicured motorsports facility, the Richmond International Raceway here in Richmond, Virginia. We are ready for side-by-side monster truck competition. Round one matchups. Gravedigger, the fastest qualifier, against Nightlife. King Crunch and Thunder Chicken. Carolina Crusher, the third fastest qualifier, against Bigfoot. We also have the Jersey Outlaw against Wild Hare, and Equalizer, the second fastest qualifier, against USA 1. Your fast qualifier is the Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson. However, in qualifying with the quick time, he had trouble earlier, and that will present some problems as the competition gets underway this evening.
Right here at the second set of cars, you see how hard landing he takes on that left front wheel, which in turn caused him to break his front drive shaft. Now in this event, he's not able to get it back together again for this first round, so he's going to be running only on rear wheel drive, a big disadvantage for Gravedigger.
Well, the show must go on, so Dennis Anderson will line up against Dave Wyzorik in Nightlife, a new Chevrolet against the 1950 Chevy panel truck. Four-wheel drive against two-wheel drive. They're coming right at you, Nightlife and the Gravedigger. And you can see the big advantage right there Nightlife has because of the four-wheel drive. But I tell you what, let's go back and take a look. I don't think Gravedigger made a legal run.
Gary, he didn't. As the rules state, you have to hit the cars with both front tires, and you can see right there, he totally misses them.
He almost did into Dave Wyzorik's lane. Dave is out of the truck. Let's go now to Army Armstrong.
Well, Dave, you draw the Gravedigger in the first round. He goes on the trailer. You're staying alive on this thing. Do you have a handle on the track tonight?
Well, I don't know. It's still kind of rough, but it's a lot smoother than the last time we ran on it. So, I don't know. I hope things get real good.
Is it going to be a quicker track than the last time we ran here?
It's definitely going to be a lot faster. It feels a lot faster for me.
Here's a look now at the King Crunch minus the front doghouse, Scott Stevens. And we have a radio hookup so Army can talk to Scott.
Scott, this is Army. You going to run hard out of this lane? No, Army, we're just going to try to get through this round. Truck's running good, but we need to save it.
And he will take on the young lady from Pennsylvania, the Thunder Chicken. This is Karen Pencil on the right-hand lane. Close to the start, but then the auto value King Crunch put the throttle down and takes the victory.
Now, as Scott talked to Army earlier, he was just going to take it easy and get through this round, but before he hit that second set of cars, he's seen an advantage to hit the throttle and to give himself a big win.
So as the crowd looks on here at the Richmond International Raceway, we look inside the cockpit of Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher. And the Carolina Crusher out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, will go up against Bigfoot, John Pyatt out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Now, John's getting a little leery on this track here. In qualifying, he didn't do real well, and let's hope he can do a little better on this run.
Well, Gary gets a good jump and will take the victory. There is a certain degree of intimidation, the intimidation factor with these two concrete walls.
Exactly. When you see that wall coming at you, see, now John's in that left lane, so he can see that wall better than Gary Porter can. And of course, Gary didn't even think about it. John might have hesitated a little bit before he hit that second set of cars.
Here's a good look at Mike Wine, the Jersey Outlaw. And he will go up against Wild Hare, Marvin Smith out of Arnold, Missouri, near St. Louis. Well, this will be Ford against Chevrolet as they are staged. We are ready for competition in round one. A very poor start for the Wild Hare, and the Jersey Outlaw takes the victory. And hang on, Marvin, he almost gets the other side of the concrete wall.
Marvin got a little out of shape after that first set of cars. He's running a new engine that he's not used to yet. He's got a lot of horsepower. And when he came over that first set, he was out of shape, and then he tried to hammer it down a little bit harder, and that just threw him off even worse when he got past the second set of cars. And as you can see down here, the Outlaw has broken the front drive shaft. He's got to get back into the pits and try to fix that before the next round because he did advance. Now, I'm not sure where that happened. I believe it was right there at that second set of cars when he took that nosedive and that put all that pressure on that front axle.
Mike Wine advances. There is work to be done. Let's go down to Army.
Mike, let me grab you real quick. I notice Nick immediately goes to work on the truck. What's the problem?
Well, last week we had a problem. We had to run it in two-wheel drive. We couldn't figure out why. I went out and qualified with 2 new yokes, front drive shaft. We didn't paint this one this time. Now we see where it's binding. The front rear is just angled down too low. The drive shaft and the front rear are going downward and binding and ripping the joints right out.
Well, as the work continues in the pit area, we go back to action here on the track in front of the grandstand. Greg Holbrook in equalizer at 11 in Tennessee. And Greg's opposition will be USA 1, the big Chevy of Steve Wilkie.
Now, Steve Wilkie's truck's been running pretty good here, but a lot of these trucks are a little newer now. This truck is 2 years old, and let's see how it's going to handle. He's getting a little out of shape. He's in trouble right there. Oh, he's upside down all the way over, Gary. The front axle came completely out from under the truck. I believe Steve is starting to climb out. He's trying to get out of there. Everybody's around.
There's Mike Wine. He runs over check. There's Dennis Anderson. All the drivers concerned for their fellow competitor. And he looks a little worse off for wear. Still inside the cockpit. You can see the damage to the windshield. He's taken his helmet off. He apparently is okay. But there's that moment where you really collect your thoughts and clean the cobwebs out of your head. As the fans look on, the rescue workers are there. He takes his time in climbing out, shaken, but I think Steve Wilkie is okay. He climbs on top of the truck, salutes the crowd. He says, I'm okay. Also surveys the damage. A nice round of applause, but a frightening accident for USA 1. Here's a look again.
Now, as we watch right here, when he hit that second set of cars, he wasn't lined up for it, and he's shooting over into Equalizer's lane, and that left tire caught his cars and ripped the front axle out from under it. And good thing for Equalizer that this did happen, because if not, there could have been a collision like a T-bone crash.
You mentioned earlier this truck is one of the older vehicles in competition. The fatigue factor may have had a role to play in this accident.
I believe it did. This truck was the same truck that I used to run against, and the truck is just a little outdated. It was the state-of-the-art when it came out, but they're trying to build a new truck. And of course, when stuff like this happens, they got to go back and work on it, and it kind of slows down their process.
Well, you can see the driver hanging on. The roll cage holds up. The driver's okay. He has made his way over to Army Armstrong. Let's go back to the pit area.
Steve, first of all, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Army.
You have any idea what caused the accident?
Well, I reviewed the tape up at the timing stand there, and it looks like when I come out the first stack, I was nose over. I clipped that last car. And I was in the hammer driving it around, and I was crossed up coming to the second stack. And when I landed, I kind of landed off of the second stack of cars, and it looks like the front end gave way on the left front and backed up underneath me.
People don't realize how important it is for you to stay in the throttle. A lot of people think, well, wait a minute, if you just backed out of the throttle, everything will be okay. That's not the case at all. If you'd have backed out of the throttle, you'd have really been in trouble, wouldn't you?
Oh, definitely, Army. When you land in any contorted position, meaning nose over, up on 2 wheels, bicycling the truck, anything like that, especially when you're nose over, you want to drive that front end out. And I was in the hammer. That's why I was reviewing the timing tape up there. I wanted to see if for sure I was in the hammer, and it's a little easier to explain to Everett.
Well, this is not the first crash that USA 1's owner, Everett Jasmer, has seen. We'll take a look at some when we return.